Good evening. Today is Tuesday, April 17th, 2018, and this is a regular meeting of the Board of Education. If we could begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we opened our meeting this evening in executive session. We will return to executive session after our business meeting this evening to continue to discuss a personnel matter. We're going to start tonight with comments from the board. Cynthia, anything?
Nothing.
That's okay. Rob?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in at home and for those who are in attendance. Just again, I wanted to thank the community for their support in regards to the bond vote. I know the board's very excited to get started, to really now look at what potentially we can bring to the district. So just another thank you to everybody who came out and voted and supported us. I know on behalf of the board and myself, we eagerly look forward to working on that project. Thank you.
Josh?
Just hello to everyone, and just like Rob said, thank you for coming out and voting and showing the support. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of hours, and to see the number of people that came out and voted is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Pete?
Yeah, just hello everybody. Just two quick comments about the high school I wanted to pass on. But first, I will also say the same. Very happy about the bond, and thank you for the support and for coming on out. Just two quick notes about the high school. Just wanted to say congratulations to all the students and staff that were part of the production of the musical All Shook Up. It was a great production last month, and I just wanted to recognize them and for their hard work and their great performance. And just a reminder to the senior parents to not to forget the senior parent dinner. That's tomorrow, Wednesday 4/18 at 6:30 in the gym. That's it.
Thanks, Pete. I also wanted to, again, formally thank the community for coming out to support our project last week. We were all very excited for what's to come here at Tuckahoe Schools. I also wanted to take a minute to publicly thank our staff that has worked so hard on this project, our Director of Finance, Lee Liu, our District Clerk, Lauren, and our Superintendent, Carl Albano. This has really been hours and hours of work over the past really year and a half, and I just wanted to publicly thank them for their work. I also wanted to, although it is still kind of cold today, we do have a lot of activity around the school. Sports have begun. Students are beginning to walk and ride their bicycles to school. And really, if everyone could please be very vigilant about watching their children and teaching them to be aware of their surroundings, because there's a lot of activity. There's a lot, I know, like there was a game today at the field, and there's just a lot of cars around. And, you know, having all winter, it's been quiet outside. It is a change here. So if everyone could just please caution and to be careful around the school campus. Cora?
Okay. I'd like to begin this evening with a very important and prestigious academic announcement. So I'm very proud of two of our high school juniors, both Miriam Kajoshi and Joy Wan, who have qualified for the 2019 National Merit Scholarship Program. This is very prestigious. They were selected from approximately 1.6 million 11th grade students who entered. They were among the top 3% of all participants, and congratulations to both of them on this outstanding achievement. I also want to tell the community, and we have more information that will go out on this, but on Monday, we had a visit from two educators from Australia. And they came here to observe our Writing Revolution program here in Tuckahoe. We're 2 years in, and the program is a K-12 writing initiative under the consultancy of Dr. Judith Hockman, who is a leading expert in the area of writing. And these educators were just so impressed. They visited middle school classes, high school classes, then they went down to Cottle. And one of our teachers, Kate Rogan, was actually invited to Australia. They were so impressed with the writing lesson that she was conducting in her class that on the spot they told her all expenses paid trip to Australia to share some of what we're doing in their school. So more information will go out on that, and it's very validating for the many hours of work that our teachers have done with this project. Also, on the topic of academics, the next two board meetings, both May 7th and May 17th, our principals, our assistant principals, our director of curriculum and instruction and technology, Dr. McDonald, as well as many teachers will be here to share about strategic plan progress and updates. Some of the topics include our ABA special class program down at Cottle that has been expanded, the response to intervention program at Cottle that has been formalized, and there is an RTI handbook that was published earlier this year, blended learning and the flipped classroom, which is probably one of the biggest initiatives that is transforming education today, and we'll give you some examples of the exciting stuff that's happening right here in Tuckahoe. Our Habitat for Humanity Club, they just had a wonderful build this past Sunday under the leadership of Joanne Ornstein. They went out to a school in Yonkers, in southwest Yonkers, and refurbished it so it could be used for after-school programs and summer programs. We had a group that dedicated their time this past Sunday. Also, the senior internship program. It's something that the board supported last year. It's in its second year. Mr. Colaswano is going to be here to tell you about some of the exciting stuff that's happening there. Mr. Goldberg will talk about health, wellness, and athletics also. And we will give you more detail about that program, the Writing Revolution, that's occurring right here in Tuckahoe. Also, I just want to mention that our varsity baseball team was named Team of the Week last week and was featured on News 12. We are very proud of Coach DeFabia and all the varsity athletes. They even competed against colleges to get that prestigious designation as Team of the Week. So again, shout out to the baseball program and everyone that supports it. I also want to just piggyback on what Rob said. We are at a very exciting time. The bond has passed by a very decisive majority vote. There is a lot of support behind this project, and the staff couldn't be more excited. I've met now 4 times with our architects and administrative team, and today we even involve teachers, and the planning is well underway. And Mr. Russ Davidson from KG&D has completed schematic designs. It is something to see. I think it really will transform Cottle Elementary School and put it in a place that it belongs. So Mr. Davidson is here with us this evening. I asked him to come in and give the board an update. And Russ, I'd like to invite you up just to let people know where we're at.
Okay, great to be here. Congratulations to the whole district on getting your bond passed. As Carl said, this is our 4th visit to the district since your bond passed. And as you know, we were asked to start schematic design before the bond vote, and we completed it last Tuesday. And as Carl will tell you, on Wednesday morning he had a full set of schematic design documents on his desk. So we're looking for some signatures on some forms, and then we're going to be doing a preliminary submittal to SED right away. So that's all ready to go. I'm just going to go through a couple things briefly. I think you all know what the scope of the bond is. This is probably the most interesting. This is the more detailed floor plan of the second floor of Cottle. So maybe if we start in the middle top, you'll see sort of a dashed line in the middle. And through our early meetings, everybody felt it was worthwhile to create 2 classrooms that could be joined together. So there'll be a movable wall between those center 2 classrooms on the top. So that can be a large group space. Everyone's very excited about that. It's something you don't have at Cottle. It fits within your budget. And today we heard that the PTA had been asking for a space for larger gatherings. So this will be instrumental for doing that. Also, because it's a larger space, we're looking at lifting the roof a little bit to let in more light. So I would just say it would be somewhat like the image on the far right, which is actually in Brewster, if you see the light coming in from the ceiling. So that double classroom will have little sloping sections that will let light in from above. You also see these two sort of a quarter round things on the corridor that are called collabs. So that's when you talk about blended learning and sort of next generation schools, we're really working with the educators in your district to sort of situate this building so it anticipates that future. And one of the things that you'll see in all of your schools is that the teachers use the corridors. And you'll see students sitting outside or desks put outside. So since we have room on this upper level, we're trying to give you a little more structure so that it's really a contiguous learning environment, not just classrooms and corridors. So those are small spaces, but not too small. They're about 8 feet by 10 feet. They're open to the corridor. They'll hold 6 to 8 students in a banquette, sort of like what you'd see in a restaurant. And they'll have a flat screen or an opportunity for an instructor to put a chair there. And when you talk about things that you do with breakout and reading groups and math groups, the teachers today were very excited about the little collab alcoves.
Russ, could you show us where that is?
Yep, I happen to have a large-scale plan here. So we're talking about these spaces right here and here. They're open to the corridor, and this is the bench seat. And to make sure, we all know that if students believe they can be seen, they behave one way. And if they know they can't be seen, they behave another way. So after conferring with everybody, we actually have a window here to the classroom. So there will often be a teacher right here. So the students in the collab space will be able to be seen this way. And then they're also placed right opposite the doors on the other side of the hallway. And doors are often left open in this school. So this teacher will also be able to see them. So we're just trying to make use of every square footage, every square feet you can have for learning. So we have these spaces. Then we also have this continuous bench space in the middle. We have a little alcove here at the end of the hallway where you can also do something. And then the basic layout is toilet rooms, what we're calling a teacher's conference room that'll probably be used as a small group instruction space, your maker space or science lab, and then a special ed room, and then your 4th and 5th grade classrooms. And this is the one that's the double room. The other change is we thought that this long elevation here needed a little bit more interest, so we bumped out a little bay window in that science lab, which we think will be very useful. And we have this double-sided display case. So all the great work that happens in here can be on display here and seen from outside and inside. Of course, there'll be shades and so that everybody can be secure in a lockdown. But part of the thinking was we can do things that are a little differently here because we are a level up. We don't have as many students walking through, and that we have doors on stairways that in any incident would automatically lock down and secure this entire area. So we think it's going to be a really exciting environment for your older kids at Cottle. And today's meeting with the leadership team, we're really getting into the details of cubbies and shelves and cabinets, and it's really coming together.
Those classrooms there, that's one 4th grade class and one 5th grade class?
You have 5. You have 6. You have 6 classrooms. The thinking is it'll be 5th, 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 and a 4-5 special ed room, and the science room, and then a small group space.
Basically a 5th grade wing.
5th grade wing.
Potentially a 4th if we don't need all those rooms.
That's right. And the large science room is 1,200 square feet. But it's pretty much just developed what was in the concept plan, and it's coming together nicely. So we build everything in 3D, and there you can see a typical room with the cubbies and some of the built-in storage, and some of the exciting furniture we're looking at. On the right are some ideas. You're going to see furniture at different heights because some kids work better standing up. You're going to see wheels on chairs and chairs that swivel because The ability to move keeps kids more engaged. It's called active learning. So this is really going to sort of set a new goal that you'll see. And the other thing about the tables is we're providing space for each student's personal items in cubbies and shelves, so they don't have to have ownership of their desk because they're going to move around a lot more. So it is really the 4th and 5th grade teachers we met with were pretty excited. So on the upper right there, that's just kind of the idea when we say banquettes. When we say there's benches in the hallway, if you look at the lower left and you see where the little round tables are, we'll be able to create a space like that in the hallway. Just some real different approaches. On the lower left, those tables with storage underneath there'll probably be 6 tables like that in the science room. So they'll be working at spaces like that. And then you can see on the upper right the sort of pods. And the other thing about the built-in cabinets is there's a big challenge in elementary school classrooms because there's so much stuff that needs to be in the room, but you need so many writing surfaces. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be using cabinets that actually have sliding whiteboard covers. So the cabinets themselves will be writing surfaces, and we're even going to use whiteboard paint on some of the walls. So the walls themselves are writing surfaces. So when we talk about the front, this is the front elevation. You'll see the new bay window in the middle, and you can see the sloping roofs in the back. That is for the double classroom, and that's the updated rendering. We're still working on this, but that's the kind of idea of that bay window in the front, and you can see how it helps break up the long elevation. Then we wanted to talk about the front entrance because this has developed a little bit. So the front entrance, we always talked about modifying it, but we do need to make it handicapped accessible. We had originally thought, well, we'll put a lift in there. But a lift is a mechanical device. It's expensive. It requires maintenance. It's just not that convenient. When we look at the survey a little bit more carefully, we can actually do this without a lift. So what we're proposing, so this is the current front door, and the stairs come straight down to the sidewalk. So we're going to build the addition all the way out to within a few feet of the sidewalk, and have the stairs come up this way from the right and enter in, and then we can have a ramp come from the uphill side. So we don't need any wheelchair lift at all, and we'll make it completely accessible. And that creates a little office for a security person. So these will both be switch-operated doors. This person will let you in. You'll talk to them about your credentials, and then you'll get buzzed into this door. So we've solved that problem of you're in the building, you're past a classroom door, and we have no handicapped lift involved. And it'll look something like that from a two-dimensional elevation, or that's our early 3D rendering. So you can see it'll be very attractive. The vestibule still pops up and it speaks entry. This is where you come in, but it's very friendly. And we've got a little bit of a green strip between that new entrance and the sidewalk. And we think it fits in very well, and it really makes a nice statement for the main entrance. So I think everybody remembers the budget, and we certainly do, and we will be doing budget checks with Calgy Construction based on the schematic set. And then as we move forward, there's infrastructure work, which we're just starting to get caught up with, but it is certainly not forgotten, and a good deal of that is at Cottle. And then above all is the schedule. So design development started last Tuesday night at around 10:52 when I got the text at 10:51 that the bond passed. And we're excited by it, but we are racing because we need to be to SED on June 19th. That's the schedule that we talked about with the board, and we are very committed to making that. That's why we're here tonight, to show you the results of Phase 1 schematic design. And we just want to keep you apprised all along, because June 19th is going to happen very quickly, and we may not be at another board meeting, but we're aware of Carl's weekly updates, and as we update things, we'll try and feed Carl at least every other week an update as where we're going with the design so that we can get it up to state on June 19th, get our approval so that we can get steel erected next summer in 2019, just as we discussed. And that's where we are. And while you thank your community, we wanted to just take this opportunity to thank you for working with us. We're very excited that we're finally getting to build something with you.
Does anyone have any questions for us or comments?
Just make a comment, I think it looks great. I mean, I really like some of the changes or additions or improvements. Really impressive. I'm really happy.
Good. Well, that's what design is about. Now we're really into
We've
it.
waited a long time to get to
Yeah.
this point
Yeah.
because we've
We
asked
did the
for-
1% design before the bond, and now a lot's happening very quickly. I think Carl and Lee has seen the team in our office, which is basically
Russ,
four people.
Will you go up to the mic for us? Thank you.
Two architects. Well, we have a project architect, a woman, Sarah, interior designer, Susan, project manager, Robert Fendler, landscape architect, Amy. We'll be meeting with the athletic director tomorrow to talk about the field upgrades, plus a structural engineering team, HVAC, electric, plumbing engineer, cost estimator. Those are all people that we pay, and then you have your construction manager. So it went from Walter and I doing a few sketches and estimating to about 12 people very much engaged in the design of your project.
One thing I want to ask you, what about specific materials, like for flooring? Is that in this stage of the plan, or does that come later?
We have already reviewed that, and they're in the schematic design set. So in general, what we're looking at is a premium vinyl floors for the corridors and for the classrooms, ceramic tile for the toilet rooms, a lay-in acoustic tile, high-efficiency LED lighting in all the classrooms and corridors. We are looking carefully at getting a lot of daylight into this upper level, and we're looking at little skylights in the hallway that are called solo tubes. So Google that when you get home. They're very cool. They're just little tubes that it's like a bubble on the roof, but it fits between the structures, so we don't have to move steel around, and it'll look like a little round light fixture in your corridor, and they'll just be sort of staggered as you go down the hallway, and the LED lights will be in a row. So even the hallways will be daylit. We're looking at a porcelain tile facing on the corridor walls. So porcelain tile is an extremely durable material. You have a lot of concrete block in your building now, and this will be a little bit of an upgrade. The porcelain tile will be super durable, but most of the wall surfaces will actually be high-density, abuse-resistant drywall and paint. So it's going to feel a little bit more finished than the lower floors. And we did some tours, and I think everybody saw those finishes and materials, and we're very impressed with them.
Russ, I didn't see it in your design. I know we talked early on about also doing some security improvements to the upper.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That's still on the table, absolutely. One of the things that we're looking at as we do the code research is that your building is sort of grandfathered in. It's a very long building that continues forever, and there's no true fire separations. So we need to introduce a fire wall between the two-story wing and the one-story wing, and we're working on that right now, and that's going to require a new wall sort of in that entrance lobby, which means when we change out, we're going to actually have to change out those doors, and we're going to use the school guard glass in those doors, and we're using the school guard glass in the new front entrance, because we talked about that during the pre-bond process.
Okay, good to hear. And some of the materials that you're talking about, or the lighting or the flooring in the refurbishing that we're doing that's in our budget, will we be using similar materials so that from a design perspective that it looks,
Anthony Russo and I have already been discussing that. We plan to talk to Sue Davidson over at KG&D to make sure we coordinate with the type of materials
Right.
and the look that they're planning to
Good.
do.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be exactly
No,
the same, but
no,
I thought it
but
would
we
make
want-
sense to be coordinated.
Yeah, we volunteered to help you out
Great.
with all that.
good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Very nice.
I'll just say, Russ, it's been a pleasure. Russ assembled a team. He was working minutes after the bond went through. I can verify that because we've been in communication ever since. The administrative team was brought to 4 different schools, showing us the finishes, showing us the furniture, showing us the concept. And we are just so excited. We've gotten input from all the different administrators as well as teachers, and they've been so receptive. And I'm impressed with how your team listens and has been receptive, and it's been a very strong collaboration. I look forward to continuing that process with you, Russ.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, it was really good that we got some portion of it done
Yes.
before. That really helped. I can't tell you how much, because we were mobilized, and with the yes vote, it was like, no, don't put your pencils down. You stick to Tuckahoe.
Great. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Russ.
Thank you, Russ.
Thank you.
Okay, Lee, I know you're going to do the budget overview. Did you have any other comments? I'm not sure. You want to just do that? Okay, very good.
So you ready to go down?
You ready for that, Carl? The budget? Yes.
Sure.
So tonight we're taking a look at our final proposed budget to the Board of Education. Tonight you can adopt this budget to present to the community at the budget vote if you so choose, and we will go through what we've got to date. So what this is basically is our expenditure budget. If you look at the 2018-19 column, it is showing a $34,025,550 proposed budget. It's up $1.5 million from this year's budget, and it provides for maintaining all the programs as well as the enrollment growth in the district going forward. In terms of the expenditure budget, some of the main reasons the budget is showing an increase is about half of that increase is staffing increases, some of which were unbudgeted this year as well as for next year. And that includes teachers, aides and monitors throughout the district for enrollment growth or state mandated needs, as well as for security. We also are showing about $133,000 in pension increases due to rate increases that we're experiencing that the state pension systems have told us about. We're looking about $200,000 or so in health insurance costs due to increased employees as well as increases in rates. We've also transferred money to the operations and maintenance line as well as a transfer to capital line to, as we discussed earlier, to start doing classroom renovations and other upgrades throughout the district, painting floors, security upgrades, and furniture purchases to prepare us to upgrade the entire district as we do the capital project over time. On the revenue side of the budget, to have a balanced budget of $34,025,550, as we're required to be balanced by state law, we are proposing to raise our tax levy by $800,000 to $27,910,050. That's a budget-to-budget increase of 2.98%. And I will go into the tax cap calculation in a slide or two, but that number, 2.98%, again, is within our maximum allowable tax levy increase. It is above 2% this year, but the formula has, as provided by the state, does allow us to go even higher. We chose to stay at 2.98%. And that is within our tax cap. We will need a simple majority vote for this budget. Some of the other areas for the revenue side that we are seeing changes to for this budget is that we're budgeting a tuition revenue increase of about $122,000 as we see some stability and increases in our tuition students who attend school in the district. We also are projecting about $110,000 additional state and federal aid, and we are also appropriating an additional $468,000 or so from our fund balance to make a balanced budget. So we are using some of our savings this year to pay for some one-time costs, such as the security and the capital improvements for the district for next year. So with our 2.98% tax levy increase, that's where we are coming out now. If we had run through the state formula for the tax levy maximum allowable increase, it's a complicated 8-part formula that the state provides us, along with growth factors and inflation factors and exclusions and inclusions. And at the end of the formula, we are allowed by the state to actually go up 3.49%, but in discussion with the Budget Advisory Committee as well as the Board of Education, we have decided not to go that high and are staying at 2.98%. Just to mention about the property tax credit, that is a program that began in 2016. It'll be fully phased in 2019. This program is provided by New York State to reduce the property tax burden for qualifying homeowners, and every homeowner is eligible for the credit. And if every homeowner who is eligible for the credit will automatically receive a check from New York State. And to be eligible, you must live in a school district that is complying with the property tax cap. And if this budget is voted on and approved by the community, it will be in compliance. The homeowner, if they're eligible, will receive either a basic or enhanced star exemption or credit. They must have an income of less than $275,000 and have paid property taxes in the prior year. Taking a look at a 5-year historical view of our tax levy and our budget, as you can see on the left-hand side of the slide, over the 5 years, the district has been within the whims of the tax cap, but has remained over a 5-year average at 1.45% for our tax levy increase. So some years we were as low as 0.4% of an increase in terms of what we were allowed. And this year, as you can see, we're allowed a higher tax cap maximum, but we are within over 5 years at 1.45%. And our budget also has shifted based on where we can be within the tax cap environment. And even with the enrollment growth that we're experiencing, we still have maintained a 5-year average of under 2% for the district. Graphically, this is the same information as on the previous slide. On the bar on the left on each school year shows the budget percentage change, along with the tax levy percentage change, and the line going across the top shows the growth in the budget. The growth in enrollment from 2014 through projections for next year. And that's where even though you can see in the first few years as our enrollment dramatically grew, our budget-to-budget increases were much more modest because of the tax cap. Right now, we're anticipating a slightly higher increase, and that's oftentimes for catch-up so that we can catch up to where our enrollment growth is right now, as well as some improvements to the district. But there are a few things we still don't know for next year. We still don't know for sure if there will be an increase or a surge in tax certiorari petitions and judgments that the district will be required to repay. We continue to have a strong and healthy tax certiorari reserve. It was put into place several years ago by my predecessor as well as the Board of Education to provide funds to repay tax certiorari petitions out of our reserve as opposed to going out in the market and borrowing to pay these back. That ability puts us in a much better position both for going forward with a capital project, capital markets, and when we do go out to bond, they look favorably on districts with large fund balances and reserves, and that keeps our cost to borrow lower, as well as it allows us not to incur additional debt and debt payments so that we have monies available to do improvements to the district. We also don't know yet the exact staffing levels that will be required for next year. We're waiting to see our enrollment, our kindergarten enrollment particularly, as well as any mandated needs that we may have for various other students. A few important dates to remember. Today, the board will adopt a budget. On May 7th, which is a Monday, we'll hold one final public hearing on the budget that was adopted, hopefully today. And on May 15th, which is a Tuesday, that is the statewide budget vote and trustee election. So the vote is from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. for the budget, as well as one Board of Education seat. I remind everyone to please come out to vote. And there, again, are only 2 election districts in the district right now. We have School Election District A, which is west of Midland Avenue at the Tuckahoe Community Center, and School Election District B, which is east of Midland Avenue, will vote at the Cottle Elementary School. So please note the new election districts. And that's it.
Thank you, Lee. Any comments from the board on the final presentation of our budget?
Just thank you, Lee. I know we've gone through it many times. We've talked about it. We've made changes to it. I think we were open-minded. We took into consideration what our maximum allowable is, and I think we felt that it was appropriate to be cognizant of where we've been in the past, and I think we did a good job by lowering where we actually came in as opposed to what the maximum allowable was. It was a complicated budget. I think every year we've done a lot. We've added over the last couple of years. And I give you a lot of credit for taking the time to be responsible and putting everything together. So thank you.
Anybody else? I will add to that, Rob. Thank you. I think it's really important to understand that the 2.98% increase only generates about $800,000. And that would fall way short of what we would need just to cover our staffing and pension contribution and healthcare increases. So if we were not in the healthy financial situation that we find ourselves in and we're able to take from our reserve fund, we would really be faced with dramatic cuts. And I think people really need to understand that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done here fiscally. I feel like the board, this board, past boards have been fiscally responsible to lead us to this time where we have to go into our savings in order to keep up with the improvements that we've been adding year after year and the enhancements. So I also thank you, Lee. I think it's a sound budget. It's smart and, again, provides no cuts. In fact, enhances our programming, and in addition, many security enhancements that we have all been asking for, and in addition to that, the refurbishing of the classrooms, that I think it's the perfect timing with the capital project to meet the needs of the older classrooms and the infrastructure. So again, thank you. Well done. Carl, anything else to add?
Basically, I'll just add again, Lee, my compliments. What you see here this evening took many, many months of thoughtful planning. It started back in December. Lee has a budget advisory committee. We receive input from that committee. She meets with every administrator in the district. They're thoughtful about their projections. And the biggest driver, as Michelle points out, is always staffing. It's about 80% of our budget. Not only did we maintain additional staffing from last year that we needed to add because of the enrollment increases, we've added some staffing going into next year based on what I believe are very sound projections. So we've increased staff, we've added program. I think we've been very responsive. There have been a number of safety concerns raised. Unfortunately, it's the times we're in, and we need to be mindful of that and do our best with securing our buildings and keeping our children and staff safe. So this budget, I think, supports that tremendously. And lastly are the renovations. We do have a healthy savings. I agree with Michelle. We're doing this wonderful new addition to the elementary school, and we saw a glimpse of it tonight, and it's exciting. But we listened to some of our staff and administrators. What about the original building? What about the furniture that's aging? The board did tours. I know they saw things that they felt were just not up to the standards that we need them to be. So we thoughtfully and thankfully are able to add 15 classrooms to be renovated district-wide. We did some last year, but this will really go a long way with upgrading our buildings. So my compliments again, Lee. I think it's a sound budget, and we look forward to rolling it out on May 15th, and that is the day where the community will be asked to vote.
Okay, Carla, if you don't mind, if I can just go forward to adopt the budget. Cynthia just has to excuse herself, so she wanted to be here for Russ's presentation and for the vote on the budget, and then she's going to excuse herself. So if we could just move forward to business of the board.
Michelle, can I just add?
I'm sorry.
It would be very important for Cynthia to vote on the resolution for the bond at the end.
Okay, so
We need
we'll do that.
extra votes on that as well
we'll
for
do
our
both
legal
of those.
counsel.
I may have, it's a little long of reading, but.
That's all right.
Okay. Business of the board. Number 1, adopt a budget. Resolve that the Tuckahoe Union Free School District's 2018-19 proposed budget be set at $34,025,550, and that this proposed budget will be voted on by the community at the annual meeting on May 15th, 2018, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Is there a motion? Pete, second. Rob, discussion. I think we just had our discussion on the budget. All in favor? Okay. And now we'll just go forward to, is it number 6? Okay. Number 6, authorizing the construction of alterations and improvements to all district school buildings and the sites thereof, stating the estimated total cost thereof is $9,987,000, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $9,987,000 serial bonds of said district to finance said appropriation. Do I have to read the whole resolution, or is there a motion?
I
Do
defer
have to read
to
the whole-
Lauren on that.
That's what we were just looking at, going,
I believe you're supposed to.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, here we go.
If you want to break it out, let me know.
Okay. Whereas a special district meeting duly called and held on April 10th, 2018 in Tuckahoe Union Free School District in the County of Westchester, New York, the district, a majority of the qualified voters present and voting approved a bond proposition authorizing the construction of alterations and improvements to all district school buildings and sites thereof. And such qualified voters then present and voting further authorize the Board of Education to levy and collect a tax to be collected in annual installments to pay the principal of and interest on the $9,987,000 serial bonds authorized to be issued. Now, therefore, I'm sorry, because there's something a little cut off. Is it?
Yes.
To be issued. Now, therefore, the Board of Education of Tuckahoe Union Free School District in the County of Westchester, New York, hereby resolves by the favorable vote of not less than 2/3 of all the members of said Board of Education as follows. Section 1, Tuckahoe Union Free School District in the County of Westchester, New York, is hereby authorized to construct alterations and improvements to all district school buildings and the sites thereof, the project, substantially and as described in a report prepared by KG&D Architects. The project consisting of the construction of buildings, building additions, and/or expansions to provide for additional classrooms, science and other space, interior reconstruction and space reconfiguration, infrastructure upgrades, security enhancements, and athletic and recreational improvements, including turf field replacement and play field upgrades. The foregoing to include the original equipment, machinery, furnishings, apparatus, and all ancillary and related site demolition and other work required in connection therewith. The estimated maximum cost of the foregoing, including preliminary costs and cost incidental thereto and to the financing thereof, is $9,987,000, and said amount is hereby appropriated therefore. The plan of financing includes the issuance of $9,987,000 in serial bonds of the district to finance said appropriation. and the levy and collection of taxes on all the taxable real property in the district to pay the principal of said bonds and the interest thereon as the same shall become due and payable. Section 2. Serial bonds of the district in the principal amount of $9,987,000 are hereby authorized to be issued pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law constituting Chapter 33A of the Consolidated Laws of the State of New York, herein called law, to finance said appropriation. Section 3. The following additional matters are hereby determined and declared. A. The period of probable usefulness applicable to the purchase for which said $9,987,000 in serial bonds are authorized to be issued, wherein the limitations of Section 11A 97 of the law is 30 years. B. The proceeds of the bonds herein authorized and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds may be applied to reimburse the district for expenditures made after the effective date of this resolution for the purpose for which said bonds are authorized. The foregoing statement of intent with respect to reimbursement is made in the conformity with Treasury Regulations Section 1.150-2 of the United States Treasury Department. Section 4. Each of the bonds authorized by this resolution and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of the sale of said bonds shall contain the recital of validity as prescribed by Section 52 of the law, and said bonds and notes issued in anticipation of said bonds shall be general obligations of the district, payable as to both principal and interest by general tax upon all taxable real property within the district without limitation of rate or amount. The faith and credit of the district are hereby irrevocably pledged to the punctual payment of principal of interest on said bonds and any notes issued in anticipation of the sale of said bonds, and provision shall be made annually in the budget of the district by appropriation for A, the amortization and redemption of the bonds and any notes in anticipation thereof to mature in such year, and B, the payment of interest to be due and payable in such year. Section 5. Subject to the provisions of this resolution and of the law, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 21 relative to the authorization of the issuance of bonds having substantially level or declining annual debt service, Section 30 relative to the authorization of the issuance of bond anticipation notes, and Section 50 and Sections 56 to 60 of the law, the powers and duties of the Board of Education relative to authorizing bond anticipation notes and prescribing the terms, form, and contents as to the sale and issuance of the bonds herein authorized and of any other bonds heretofore or hereafter authorized, and of any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds, and the renewals of said bond anticipation notes are hereby delegated to the President of the Board of Education, the Chief Fiscal Officer of the district. Section 6. The validity of the bonds authorized by this resolution and of any notes issued in anticipation of the sale of bonds may be contested only if A, such obligations are authorized for an object or purpose for which the district is not authorized to expend money, or B, the provisions of law which should be compiled with at the date of the publication of the resolution or summary thereof are not substantially complied with, and an action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such publication. C, such obligations are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Section 7, this bond resolution shall take effect immediately, and the district clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the foregoing resolution in summary, together with a notice attached in substantially the form prescribed by Section 81, I don't know if it's section, of the law, in the district's official newspapers each having a general circulation in the district, and hereby designated the official newspapers of the said district for publication. Is there a motion? Cynthia, second. Rob. Discussion. Okay.
Yeah, I would just like to say that this is the resolution that we are allowed, or the board is allowed to vote now that the public has accepted the capital project resolution, and this permits the district to, in the name of the Board of Education, to borrow monies to complete the project, and only such monies as the community has approved. And we did need everybody available to vote on it. It helps us with our, going forward with our bond requests.
Good, okay.
So thank you for staying.
I just want to add, in reading it, again, everyone at this point now knows it's $9,987,000. And I just want to let the community know that we thank you for entrusting us in putting together this project. And, you have our word. We will be on top of it, and we have been fiscally responsible. And we do have sharp pencils here, as you know, and we will keep our eye on your money. So, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Okay, okay, consent agenda. Approve the consent agenda. Is there a motion? P, second. Rob, discussion. All in favor? Back to business of the board. We have adopted the budget. That was number 1. Number 2 is to approve a property tax report card. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Tuckahoe Union Free School District approve the property tax report card for the 2018-19 school year and authorize the Director of Finance and Facilities to submit it to the State Education Department. Is motion? Rob, second. Pete, discussion.
Can Lee or maybe Carl, can you just give a little bit of a snapshot of exactly what the tax report card?
Sure. This is prepared by our treasurer and under Lee's supervision, so I think Lee can do the best job explaining what this is.
Sure, I brought along a copy of it. It's basically prescribed by the state. We fill in our budget as well as our tax levy, and it just shows the differences, the percent changes, it shows the inflation, and it's something that every district is required to put out by law. It also shows what our fund balances look like and the fact that we have a 4%, as allowed by law, of an unrestricted fund balance. If you'd like to pass that around, that's what it looks like, and it's based on the budget that you just adopted tonight.
So I guess, so this is on a projection, right? Obviously, it's based on what we expect to happen and everything next year. So in the event everything doesn't come in as projected, what's the process? Like, how is that taken care of next year or addressed?
It really isn't. If
just
it comes in
rolls.
within reason, then there's no question. If the state office of the state controller would come in and take a look at it and do a full audit on it, then they might ask why our projections didn't match, and then we could show them where our projections were based off of.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. All in favor? Number 3, adopt Southern Westchester BOCES 2018-19 budget. Resolve to approve the 2018-19 estimated administrative budget for the Southern Westchester Board of Cooperative Educational Services in the amount of $11,330,444. Tuckahoe's share is $145,010. Is there a motion? Pete, second. Daj, discussion. Lee, could you just tell us, Tuckahoe share 100, just a little bit about what we're getting for services there?
Yeah, this is all the services that Southwest BOCES supplies to all the cooperative districts in its region, which is Lower Hudson, pretty much Westchester, Westchester County. Each district in that subscribes to the BOCES pays a percentage based on a formula that's devised on its enrollment as well as wealth of the district, and it is proportional, and each year If our enrollment changes, it shifts slightly, but we pay our share of both the administrative and the capital costs of the BOCES, and they provide us with special education services, cooperative purchasing, security, help with our regulatory testing, and we receive state aid on the items that we purchase from BOCES.
So you said at the end, I believe. So when state aid comes into play in regards to what we receive, that's based on the similar calculation, the same numbers, same data?
No, our state aid is based on exactly what we purchase, and it's a formula that is figured out between BOCES and the state, and on most items we get about 40% state aid, but we receive that state aid on whatever we purchase in one year, we receive it in the following year. So when you saw in our revenues that we were getting BOCES aid next year, that's based on our projected purchases for this year.
Thank you.
All in favor? Number 4, approve Southern Westchester BOCES trustees. Resolve that one vote each be cast for John V. Filiberti and Claudia Glasser to serve as trustees on the Southern Westchester Board of Cooperative Educational Services for the time period of July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. Is there a motion? Pete, second. Rob, discussion? All in favor? Number 5, accept a donation. Whereas the Tuckahoe Union Free School District has been informed of a donation to be made to the district by Younging Yi in honor of Zhou Chen, and whereas the district would like to accept such donation, it is hereby resolved that the district shall accept the donation of $120 and increase the revenue budget code A2705, gifts and donations, $120, and the expenditure budget code A2110.450 01000, $120. Is there a motion? Daj, second. Pete, all in favor? Number 6. Oh, we did that. That's a good thing. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to personnel. Accept a resignation. Resolve to accept the resignation of Jennifer Del Rosario, effective June 8th, 2018. Is there a motion? Pete, second. Daj, discussion?
I'd just like to wish Jennifer well. She served for 2 years in our special education department. She is accepted into Teach for America. She's pursuing a career as a teacher, and we wish her well.
All in favor? Number 2, appoint a monitor. Resolved on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to appoint Christopher Letizia to a probationary appointment effective May 14th, 2018 through May 13th, 2019 as a monitor at the William E. Cottle Elementary School on Step 6 of the CSEA salary schedule. Is there a motion? Pete, second. Rob, discussion?
I'll comment on personnel items 2 and 3 together. We're asking the board to approve 2 retired police officers, Mr. Letizia and Mr. D'Onofrio. Ms. Letizia, New York City Police Department, Mr. D'Onofrio with the Tuckahoe Police Department. Both of these gentlemen have extensive training, background. Their references were very, very complimentary for their work and their integrity. And we're thrilled that we found 2 highly trained, highly competent people to keep our children and our staff safe. I think they both have a tie to this district as parents, as community members, and I think they will protect us and serve us well. So this is not part of this year's budget. So I want to emphasize it is an addition. It's something we did not plan for, but we believe is necessary. It is certainly part of the budget that the board adopted this evening going into next year.
All in favor? Number 3, appoint a monitor. Resolved on recommendation of the superintendent of schools to appoint Paul D'Onofrio to a probationary appointment effective May 7th, 2018 through May 6th, 2019 as a monitor at the Tuckahoe Middle School High School on Step 6 of the CSEA salary schedule. Is there a motion? Rob, second. Pete, discussion? And as Carl just said, I think I speak for the board, are very pleased and supportive of these two appointments, and feel very fortunate to have both of them serving in our district. All in favor? Number 4, appoint a leave replacement. Resolved on recommendation of the superintendent to appoint Pia Vicaria to a 1.5-month leave replacement at the position of elementary teacher at William E. Cottle School effective May 16th, 2018 through June 30th, 2018, or sooner at the discretion of the Board of Education on Step 1 MA prorated at the TTA salary schedule. Is there a motion? I'm sorry, Pete, second. Daj, discussion?
I'll just say that Ms. Vicario is very highly qualified. She's been with the district for a number of years. She's done outstanding work as a leave replacement teacher in our elementary school. I think grand total she has about 15 years of experience, and I know she'll do a great job at the end of the school year in our kindergarten program.
All in favor? What was number 5? This was, there's no 5. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, alrighty, and now we move on to recognition of the audience. This is the second, and I apologize because I did miss the first. Is there any comments? Okay, so again, you are. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hi, Nathan Jackman, Tuckahoe. First of all, thank you all for all this hard work. I can't imagine how much effort went into what took place with the bond vote. I do want to caution that we still had 400 and something people come out and vote against a very minimal bare requirement. And I would caution about this upcoming budget vote that I think there needs to be a massive amount of drive from the community in order to get out the same numbers to vote again, or we're going to have the same issue. I feel like these folks would vote against hot water if they could. Secondly, wondering if there's further breakdown available for the increase in the budget to the public, as far as I know staffing especially is almost 80 or 80% of your, something around there, of your budget increase.
There will be a more detailed budget, line-by-line budget available online, and it's there now. It hasn't changed, so it's still available, and you can see it right on in the under the budget information line.
Okay, thank you. And then has there, just and from listening in, has there ever been any cost analysis done on our participation in these Southern Westchester BOCES, I believe you called it? There has been cost analysis that
I was agreeing that was what we called it, but what type of cost analysis?
Have we analyzed, I mean, especially based on the fact that we pay into this based on I assume based on the wealth of the district, we're probably paying a good amount compared to many school districts.
I'm sorry, I really shouldn't be answering if you wanted to have anything, but I couldn't.
Yeah, you know, in years past, previous boards and previous administration has looked at it where it makes sense financially to be a part of Southern Westchester BOCES. It is the reimbursement that Lee spoke about earlier, which averages about 40%. And various services that are provided through BOCES, particularly for a small district such as Tuckahoe. And I'll give you just one example, and there are many, but technology support. So we have technicians.
That's fine. You guys probably will get out here. I don't mean to interrupt, but
you don't want that level
I'm more asking if it might be something worth looking at every couple of years. I assume it's not going to take more than a half hour to kind of pull together a quick analysis of what are we getting out of this roughly. If it's around the same, fine. But if we've realized that we're paying $150,000 and getting $50,000 worth of benefit, I think it's worth just taking a peek at every couple of years.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. So there's the financial aspect of it, but then there is also, for a small place like Tuckahoe, the collective knowledge of BOCES. So, for example, with the technology support, they're supporting maybe 40 districts throughout Westchester.
And I'm sure that can be included in your cost analysis if there's
exactly
$30,000 worth of value there for you, fine. But
exactly, there's a huge value with, like I said, the collective knowledge that they bring to us, but also the financial piece. So absolutely.
Okay. Lastly, I just wanted to raise concern as a representative for a few kindergarten parents. I'm not sure if anyone recalls, about 3 years ago, we went through a situation where we were looking at class, and I might be wrong on this, but 25, 26 kindergartners per class. We were told repeatedly, don't worry, we're at 80, we're 90, we're not going to need another teacher. we're not going to get that many more kids, and all of a sudden we had 120, I believe, before the school year had started. I just wanted an update on the situation for the upcoming kindergarten class. Selfishly, of course, I have a kindergartner entering, and we are just concerned that there might be the same issue, and what we're going to do to get in front of that and express our concerns on class size.
So, very valid question. I wasn't prepared with the latest registration number, but probably about a week ago, I believe it was at 74. So what I will do is tomorrow email you the exact number. Now, we're in April. And what happened all those years ago, there was an unusual surge over the summer. And there does come a time where it just becomes not feasible to open another section. So, for example, if you get this rush of enrollment in August, well, to set up a classroom, to hire a competent teacher, it's just not practical. So we are tracking those numbers very carefully. We do, so right now the projection for those 72 students is it could potentially go to 92. That's our projection, and we've presented that in a couple of different budget presentations. And we have them in 4 sections. Now, I will tell you, Mr. Jackman, the average class size of 23, as far as I'm concerned, is high for kindergarten. That being said, we have an outstanding, very experienced teaching staff.
I have no question as to that. I've had 2 kids go through, and the kindergartner teachers are amazing, but 23 5-year-olds is one heck of a day.
And that's a projection.
That's fine, but it also seems like, again, we're kind of walking this knife edge where, 23 is just bearable for a kindergarten teacher. Well, you could have 5 kids enroll that last day. And, I agree with you, 70-something seems perfectly reasonable.
Yes.
I want to make sure that we have a contingency in place, a trigger, so to speak, so that, if we get to 90 before even the end of this school year, I think there needs to be some serious discussion as far as having an additional teacher in place if needed. Because, I don't doubt we're going to get quite a few more kids come summer.
We have a fallback. If that number were to go up, we may look at one of the other grade levels. We have a couple in mind that could potentially be reduced by one section, which would increase their class size. But with the older students, that may make sense if this number were to continue to climb. Another fallback plan of ours, and we don't want to be in this place, but we could potentially, the last remaining space is the library. We could potentially convert that to a classroom. We're trying to avoid that. We're hoping this number of 74 stabilizes. We expect it to go up a bit. But if we think we're closing in on 100 students, we will seriously, and I think this final decision will be made mid to late May, but we do have a fallback if need be.
Yeah, but the last thing I want to see is a higher level class suffering the same issue that I'm concerned about. It would break my heart to see the library have to be used, but I don't see, I'd rather that burden didn't go on older kids who are also having the same struggles of time with their teacher and focus. So I just want to make it clear that we're concerned about it. I'm sure you are as well, and we hope that you keep us updated and with due diligence take that into consideration. That at that age, I think a lower class count is highly beneficial. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now going to go back. We're not going to adjourn our meeting because we will be going back into executive session. Thank you for coming tonight, Nathan, and thank you for those at home who are watching. Have a good evening.